everybody. We are going to read a little bit more of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, chapter 6, this afternoon. It is lovely and sunny outside. I'm inside reading with you. So we read a few pages the other day, didn't we? And Harry had met a really nice family, hadn't he? And they all had flaming red hair, if you remember. And he managed to get himself onto platform 9 3/4, and it said that there was a huge scarlet steam train, didn't it? Steam engine on the track. You know what colour scarlet is? Give you 5 seconds to think if you're not sure. What colour is scarlet? It's red. Bright red train. And yeah, he's on platform 9 3/4. He had done it. So we're going to carry on from there. Smoke from the engine drifted over the heads of the chattering crowd, while cats of every colour wound here and there between their legs. Owls hooted to each other in a disgruntled sort of way over the babble and scraping of heavy trunks. The first few carriages were already packed with students, some hanging out of the window to talk to their families, some fighting over seats. Harry pushed his trolley off down the platform in search of an empty seat. He passed a round-faced boy who was saying, "Gran, I've lost my toad again." "Oh, Neville," he heard the old woman sigh. A boy with dreadlocks was surrounded by a small crowd. "Give us a look, Lee. Go on." The boy lifted the lid of a box in his arms, and the people around him shrieked and yelled as something inside poked out a long, hairy leg. Harry pressed on through the crowd until he found an empty compartment near the end of the train. He put Hedwig inside first, and then started to shove and heave his trunk towards the train door. He tried to lift it up the steps, but he could hardly raise one end, and twice he dropped it painfully on his foot. "Want a hand?" It was one of the red-haired twins he'd followed through the ticket box. "Oh, yes, please," Harry panted. "Oi, Fred, come here and help." With the twins' help, Harry's trunk was at last tucked away in the corner of the compartment. "Thanks," said Harry, pushing his sweaty hair out of his eyes. "What's that?" said one of the twins suddenly, pointing at Harry's lightning scar. "Blimey," said the other twin. "Are you?" "He is," said the other twin. "Aren't you?" he added to Harry. "What?" said Harry. "Harry Potter," chorused the twins. "Oh, him," said Harry. Yes, I am." The two boys gawped at him, and Harry felt himself going red. Then, to his relief, a voice came floating in through the train's open door. "Fred! George! Are you there?" "Coming, Mum." With a last look at Harry, the twins hopped off the train. Harry sat down next to the window where, half hidden, he could watch the red-haired family on the platform and hear what they were saying. Their mother had just taken out her handkerchief. "Ron, you've got something on your nose." The youngest boy tried to jerk out of the way, but she grabbed him and began rubbing the end of his nose. "Mum, get off!" He wriggled free. "Ah, has Ickle Ronnie got something on his nose?" said one of the twins. "Shut up," said Ron. "Where's Percy?" said their mother. "He's coming now." The oldest boy came striding into sight. He had already changed into his billowing black Hogwarts robes, and Harry noticed a shiny red and gold badge on his chest with the letter P on it. "Can't stay long, Mother," he said. "I'm up front. The prefects have got 2 compartments to themselves." "Oh, are you a prefect, Percy?" said one of the twins with a great air of surprise. "You should have said something. We had no idea." "Hang on, I think I remember him saying something about it," said the other twin. "Once, or twice, a minute, All summer. Oh, shut up, said Percy, the prefect. How come Percy gets new robes anyway? Said one of the twins. Because he's a prefect, said their mother fondly. All right, dear, well, have a good term. Send me an owl when you get there. She kissed Percy on the cheek, and he left. Then she turned to the twins. Now, you two, this year, you behave yourselves. If I get one more owl telling me you've blown up a toilet or blown up a toilet, we've never blown up a toilet. Great idea, though. Thanks, Mum. It's not funny. And look after Ron. Don't worry. Ickle Ronnykins is safe with us. Shut up, said Ron again. He was almost as tall as the twins already, and his nose was still pink from where his mother had rubbed it. Hey, Mum, guess what? Guess who we've just met on the train? Harry leant back quietly so they couldn't see him looking. You know that black-haired boy who was near us in the station? Know who he is? Who? Harry Potter. Harry heard the little girl's voice. Oh, Mum, can I go on the train and see him? Mum, oh, please. You've seen him already, Ginny, and the poor boy isn't something you goggle at in a zoo. Is he really, Fred? How do you know? Asked him, saw his scar. It's really there, like lightning. Poor dear. No wonder he was alone. I wondered. He was ever so polite when he asked how to get onto the platform. Never mind that. Do you think he remembers what you-know-who looks like? Their mother became suddenly very stern. I forbid you to ask him, Fred. No, don't you dare. As though he needs reminding of that on his first day at school. All right, keep your hair on. A whistle sounded. Hurry up, their mother said, and the three boys clambered onto the train. They leant out the window for her to kiss them goodbye, and their younger sister began to cry. Don't, Ginny. We'll send you loads of owls. We'll send you a Hogwarts toilet seat. George! Only joking, Mum. The train began to move. Harry saw the boy's mother waving and their sister, half laughing, half crying, running to keep up with the train until it gathered too much speed. Then she fell back and waved. Harry watched the girl and her mother disappear as the train rounded the corner. Houses flashed past the window. Harry felt a great leap of excitement. He didn't even know where he was going to, but it had to be better than what he was leaving behind. The door of the compartment slid open and the youngest red-haired boy came in. Is anyone sitting here? He asked, pointing at the seats opposite Harry. Everywhere else is full. Harry shook his head and the boy sat down. He glanced at Harry and then looked quickly out the window, pretending he hadn't looked. Harry saw he still had a black mark on his nose. Hey, Ron! The twins were back. Listen, we're going down the middle of the train. Lee Jordan's got a giant tarantula down there. Right, mumbled Ron. Harry, said the other twin. Did we introduce ourselves? Fred and George Weasley, and this is Ron, our brother. See you later then. Bye, said Harry and Ron. The twins slid the compartment door shut behind Harry. Are you really Harry Potter? Ron blurted out. Harry nodded. Oh, well, I thought it might be one of Fred or George's jokes, said Ron. And have you really got, you know... He pointed at Harry's forehead. Harry pulled back his fringe to show the lightning scar. Ron stared. So that's where you-know-who... Yes, said Harry, but I can't remember it. Nothing, said Ron eagerly. Well, I remember a lot of green lights, but nothing else. Wow, said Ron. He sat and stared at Harry for a few moments. Then, as though he had suddenly realised what he was doing, he looked quickly out of the window again. Are all your family wizards? Asked Harry, who found Ron just as interesting as Ron found him. Yeah, think so, said Ron. I think Mum's got a second cousin who's an accountant, but we never talk about him. So you must know loads of magic already. The Weasleys were clearly one of those old wizarding families the Pale Boy in Diagon Alley had talked about. I heard you went to live with Muggles, said Ron. What are they like? Horrible. Well, not all of them. My aunt and uncle and cousin are, though. Wish I'd had 3 wizard brothers. 5, said Ron. For some reason, he was looking gloomy. I'm the 6th in our family to go to Hogwarts. You could say I've got a lot to live up to. Bill and Charlie have already left. Bill was head boy, and Charlie was captain of the Quidditch team. Now Percy's a prefect. Fred and George mess around a lot, but they still get really good marks, and everyone thinks they're really funny. Everyone expects me to do as well as the others. But if I do, it's no big deal, because they did it first. You never get anything new either with 5 brothers. I've got Bill's old robes, Charlie's old wand, and Percy's old rat. Ron reached inside his jacket and pulled out a fat grey rat which was asleep. His name's Scabbers, and he's useless. He hardly ever wakes up. Percy's got an owl from my dad for being made a prefect, but they couldn't have... I got Scabbers instead. Ron's ears went pink. He seemed to think he'd said too much because he went back to staring out of the window. Harry didn't think there was anything wrong with not being able to afford an owl. After all, he never had any money in his life until a month ago, and he told Ron so, all about having to wear Dudley's old clothes and never getting proper birthday presents. That seemed to cheer Ron up a bit. And until Hagrid told me, I didn't know anything about being a wizard, or my parents, or Voldemort. Ron gasped. What? Said Harry. You said you know whose name, said Ron, sounding both shocked and impressed. I'd have thought you, of all people. I'm not trying to be brave or anything, saying the name, said Harry. I just never knew you shouldn't. See what I mean? I've got loads to learn, I bet, he added, voicing for the first time something that had really been worrying him lately. I bet I'm the worst in the class. You won't be. There's loads of people who come from Muggle families and they learn quick enough. While they had been talking, the train had carried them out of London. Now they were speeding past fields full of cows and sheep. They were quiet for a time, watching the fields and lanes flick past. Around 12:30, there was a great clattering outside in the corridor, and a smiling, dimpled woman slid back their door and said, Anything off the trolley, dears? Harry, who hadn't had breakfast, leapt to his feet, but Ron's ears went pink again, and he muttered that he'd brought sandwiches. Harry went out into the corridor. He had never had any money for sweets with the Dursleys, and now that he had pockets rattling with gold and silver, he was ready to buy as many Mars bars as he could carry. But the woman didn't have any Mars bars. What she did have was Bertie Bott's Every Flavour beans, Drubel's Best Blowing Gum, chocolate frogs, pumpkin pasties, cauldron cakes, licorice wands, and a number of other strange things Harry had never seen in his life. Not wanting to miss anything, he got some of everything and paid the woman 11 silver sickles and 7 bronze nuts. Ron stared as Harry brought it all back into the compartment and tipped it onto an empty seat. Hungry, are you? Starving, said Harry, taking a large bite out of a pumpkin pasty. Ron had taken out a lumpy package and unwrapped it. There were 4 sandwiches in there. He pulled one of them apart and said, she always forgets I don't like corned beef. I'll swap you for one of these, said Harry, holding up a pasty. Go on. You don't want this, it's all dry, said Ron. She hasn't got much time, he added quickly. You know, with 5 of us. Go on, have a pasty, said Harry, who never had anything to share before, or indeed anyone to share it with. It was a nice feeling, sitting there with Ron, eating their way through all Harry's pasties and cakes. The sandwiches lay forgotten. What are these? Harry asked Ron. holding up a pack of chocolate frogs. They're not really frogs, are they? He was starting to feel like nothing would surprise him. No, said Ron, but see what the card is? I'm missing Agrippa. What? Oh, of course, you wouldn't know. Chocolate frogs have cards inside them, to collect. Famous witches and wizards. I've got about 500, but I haven't got Agrippa or Ptolemy. Harry unwrapped his chocolate frog and picked up the card. It showed a man's face. He wore half-moon glasses. He had a long, crooked nose and flowing silver hair, beard and moustache. Underneath the picture was the name, Albus Dumbledore. So this is Dumbledore, said Harry. Don't tell me you've never heard of Dumbledore, said Ron. Can I have a frog? I might get Agrippa. Thanks. Harry turned over his card and read. Albus Dumbledore, currently headmaster of Hogwarts, considered by many the greatest wizard of modern times. Professor Dumbledore is particularly famous for his defeat of the dark wizard Grindelwald in 1945, for the discovery of the 12 uses of dragon blood and his work on alchemy with his partner Nicholas Flamel. Professor Dumbledore enjoys chamber music and 10-pin bowling. And you can see the card there, so that's on the back of his card. Harry turned the card back over and saw, to his astonishment, that Dumbledore's face had disappeared. He's gone! Well, you can't expect him to hang around all day, said Ron. He'll be back. No, I've got Morgana again, and I've got about 6 of her. Do you want it? You can start collecting. Ron's eyes strayed to the pile of chocolate frogs waiting to be unwrapped. Help yourself, said Harry. But in, the Muggle world, people just stay in photos. Do they? What, they don't move at all? Ron sounded amazed. Weird. Harry stared as Dumbledore sidled back into the picture on his card and gave him a small smile. Ron was more interested in eating the frogs than looking at the famous witches and wizards cards, but Harry couldn't keep his eyes off them. Soon he had not only Dumbledore and Morgana, but Hengist of Woodcroft, Alberic Grunion, Circe, Paracelsus and Merlin. He finally tore his eyes away from the Drudius Cledonia, who was scratching her nose, to open a bag of Bertie Bott's every flavour beans. You want to be careful with those, Ron warned Harry. When they say every flavour, they mean every flavour. You get all the ordinary ones like chocolate and peppermint and marmalade, but then you get spinach and liver and tripe. George reckons he had a bogey-flavoured one once. Ron picked up a green bean, looked at it carefully, and bit into a corner. Ugh! See? Sprouts. They had a good time eating the every flavour beans. Harry got toast flavour, coconut flavour, baked beans, strawberry, curry, grass, coffee, sardines, and was even brave enough to nibble the end of a funny grey one Ron wouldn't touch, which turned out to be pepper. The countryside, now flying past the window, was becoming wilder. The neat fields had gone. Now there were woods, twisting rivers and dark hills. There was a knock on the door of their compartment, and the round-faced boy Harry had passed on platform 9 3/4 came in. He looked tearful. Sorry, he said, but have you seen a toad at all? When they shook their heads, he wailed, I've lost him. He keeps getting away from me. He'll turn up, said Harry. Yes, said the boy miserably. Well, if you see him. He left. Don't know why he's so bothered, said Ron. If I'd brought a toad, I'd lose it as quick as I could. Mind you, I bought Scabbers, so I can't talk. The rat was still snoozing on Ron's lap. "He might have died and you wouldn't know the difference," said Ron in disgust. "I tried to turn him yellow yesterday to make him more interesting, but the spell didn't work. I'll show you. Look." He rummaged around in his trunk and pulled out a very battered-looking wand. It was chipped in places and something white was glinting at the end. Unicorn hairs nearly poking out. Anyway, he had just raised his wand when the compartment door slid open again. The toadless boy was back, but this time he had a girl with him. She was already wearing her brand new Hogwarts robes. "Has anyone seen a toad, Neville's lost one?" she said. She had a bossy sort of voice, lots of bushy brown hair and rather large front teeth. "We've already told him we haven't seen it," said Ron. But the girl wasn't listening. She was looking at the wand in his hand. "Oh, are you doing magic? Let's see it then." She sat down. Ron looked taken aback. All right." He cleared his throat. "Sunshine, daisies, buttermellow, turn this stupid fat rat yellow." He waved his wand, but nothing happened. Scabbers stayed grey and fast asleep. "Are you sure that's a real spell?" said the girl. "Well, it's not very good, is it? I've tried a few simple spells for practice and it's all worked for me. Nobody in my family's magic at all. It was ever such a surprise when I got my letter, but I was ever so pleased, of course. I mean, it's the very best school of witchcraft there is, I've heard. I've learnt all our set books off by heart, of course. I just hope it will be enough. I'm Hermione Granger, by the way. Who are you?" She said all of this very fast. Harry looked at Ron and was relieved to see by his stunned face that he hadn't learnt all the set books off by heart either. "I'm Ron Weasley," Ron muttered. "Harry Potter," said Harry. "Are you really?" said Hermione. "I know all about you, of course. I got a few extra books for background reading, and you're in Modern Magical History and The Rise and Fall of the Dark Arts and Great Wizarding Events of the 20th Century. "Am I?" said Harry, feeling dazed. "Goodness, didn't you know? I'd have found out everything I could if it was me," said Hermione. "Do either of you know what house you'll be in? I've been asking around and I hope I'm in Gryffindor. Sounds by far the best. I heard Dumbledore himself was one, but I suppose Ravenclaw wouldn't be too bad. Anyway, we'd better go and look for Neville's toad. You two had better change, you know. I think we'll be there soon." And she left, taking the toadless boy with her. "Whatever house I'm in, I hope she's not in it," said Ron. He threw his wand back into his trunk. "Stupid spell. George gave it to me. Bet he knew it was a dud." "What house are your brothers in?" "Gryffindor," said Ron. Gloom seemed to be settling on him again. "Mum and Dad were in it too. I don't know what they'll say if I'm not. I don't suppose Ravenclaw would be too bad, but imagine they put me in Slytherin." "That's the house you know who was in." "Yeah," said Ron. He flopped back into his seat, looking depressed. I think we'll stop there for today. So, quite an interesting journey for Harry. So he's met Ron Weasley. He's met the quite upset boy who seemed to have lost his toad. I don't think I'd want a pet toad, would you? I think I'll keep my dog, thanks. And we've met Hermione Granger, who seemed quite bossy, didn't she? Not sure if we like her yet or not. So there's a little bit more of Harry Potter for you, and you'll have a little bit more in the next couple of days, okay? Hope you're enjoying it. And if you want to do any writing or anything, then you could write from Harry's point of view and write about his journey, because, we had the bit on the station where he was a bit lost and confused. His uncle was really horrible to him, wasn't he? He had to run through the wall to get onto the platform. He's seen the huge train. He's met Ron. He's tried all these new sweets and things like that. So there's absolutely loads of Loads of things that you could write about from Harry's point of view. You could write from Ron's point of view, meeting the famous Harry Potter, couldn't you? That would be really good. Like, what would it be like meeting someone who's famous? There's a couple of bits of writing you could do if you wanted to. All right. So there we are, and we'll finish chapter 6 in a couple of days. See you later. Bye.